Right. So we have the three EVO point guards. So I have them all. I've played with all three guards a lot, and I have a really good sense of how they all feel, what their pluses and minuses are. I've EVO'd them all up. I've actually EVO'd, I think, all three of the guards twice because I've already sold a few after picking them up. So let's go right into freestyle and compare, because when it comes to point guards, dribble animations are paramount. Shot releases and speeds are paramount. Size, these things are all extra important on guards. Most bigs are going to be between 6'11" and up, but the guards can vary anywhere from 6'1" to, at this point in the game, taking out Simmons because he's the outlier, to 6'7". So that's a massive difference, and because Ben Simmons is out there, that's actually going to affect the guards we have here. So we'll start from the bottom and bring out Michael Carter Williams first. What's up, Side Goal? Can you hear me okay? Alrighty. So Michael Carter Williams, let's look at his attributes real quick. So he's 6'6", which is a big benefit for him. Let's look at his metrics here. First, the badges. He's got a bunch of really good finishing badges. So he can definitely finish in the lane, whether it's layups or dunks. A lot of good shooting badges. He can definitely make shots. And a bunch of excellent playmaking badges. Now, I hold any point guard with floor general in high regard because this allows those borderline cards to do stuff like speed boosting, or if your center, say you're running a coach that doesn't give a center a 3-point boost like DeAndre Jordan, he has a 69. This even gold floor general, that's now a 72. You throw in those gold catch and shoot corner specialist badges, and now that center is making shots really, really consistently. The one thing I don't love about him is the bronze quick first step. I prefer that to be a little higher, but we'll live with it. And he does not have clamps, which I also do not love. Chase down is an okay badge for guards because when somebody gets past you, it gives you a chance. And since he's 6'6", that's relevant. But ideally, he'd do a little better than that on the defensive badges. So for his level of offense. So let's look at his scoring. So phenomenal mid-range shot, phenomenal three-point shot. Driving dunk is at 80, not bad by any stretch, but for, again, a card that doesn't have clamps, you want them to do two things really well. And he passes well, and he's good on the catch and shoot, but he doesn't, pass phenomenally. And because he doesn't have tight handles or above bronze quick first step, he's not phenomenal off the dribble. Solid though, not bad for what he turns into, a Ruby card, an extraordinarily low budget Ruby card. He's okay. I would still favor Norm Nixon for a budget, really, really inexpensive card. Also, he's only 84 speed. At the 2 guard at 6'6", I might let him get away with it, but that point guard, don't love that at 84 speed. Again, 6'6", so he gets away with it a little more than if he was 6'4". So let's look at his animations. So good behind the back. You can definitely feel that he's not the quickest guard in the world. His momentum's okay. Good snatch back. Step back is terrible. That's a terrible step back. And for a guy who can shoot, no range extender. I didn't mention that. That's not good. But he does have a very fast release. His release honestly is so fast that I haven't even gotten it quite down yet. Because as soon as that ball's in his face, you kind of have to let it go. But it is a good release. It is a good release. I think once you practice with him a little bit, as you can see, lots of greens. Excellent release, good dribbles, 6'6". I would give this card, and good dunk animations, I would give this guy probably a B or a B+. Definitely not something you're going to use in your major lineups. But when you're talking about these cards, you're mostly looking for in your budget, low overall lineups. Is he going to be good enough for your 86 to 88 rated squad when you're not playing the top teams all the time, you're only playing those teams once in a while. Is he good enough to go? I would say no, because this card needed either range extender or clamps. And that's why I put the Norm Nixon above this card. Even though this card is a better shooter, as you can see, he's a really good shooter. He doesn't have range extender and he doesn't have clamps. So he's like super average, right? The only thing about this card that's remarkable is that he's big. But since he doesn't have clamps, the height isn't that much of a factor. So I would say out of the three, I like this card the least, which is fitting because he is the lowest overall card. Side gold, just for reference, I'm talking about the Norm Nixon from the Kareem packs, not the Norm Nixon from the token rewards. Even though the Norm Nixon from the token rewards is higher rated, I put a little extra value on cards that can bring your overall down while still being very good. So if you're going to go with an Amethyst, there's a lot of cards you can go with, but at Norm Nixon's rating from that Kareem pack, I think it's like an 85 or 86. I'm not sure if there are any point guards at that level that are actually better than him, because he has clamps and gold dimer and gold floor general, which is insane for a cheap card. That Norm Nixon is one of the best low-rated point guards in the game. He's a low-rated point guard you can actually use. Like, the only thing that card can't do is shoot. Everything else, he's pretty good. All right, so let's move on to, we'll go up the ladder in terms of ratings. Even though we're going up the ladder, this guy is probably, no, I'm going to say this guy's the best card in the bunch. So he's 6'7", but if you look at his player model, he is gigantic. I mean, Sean Livingston is huge in this game. And he's got everything. He can dunk. He's got an extraordinarily high shot. The only problem with Livingston, he has a very slow release. They say he has quick draw. Somebody's lying, because I don't know what that's faster than, but that's really slow. Would I say it's a broken release? Absolutely not. It's got a pretty big green window once you get used to it. But it is a slow release. So offensively, that's a catch and shoot jumper. You're not going to be hitting step backs with that shot, because people are going to, at least not against good players, they're going to have time to recover. So that's his one Achilles heel, that and the fact that he doesn't have range extender. So you can see greening over and over. He's just destined. I mean, it's a really good shot, but it's really slow. But his dribbles for a guy this size at the point guard position, I mean, he can dribble. He has gold clamp. We're going to get into his badges in a second. He can defend. He can finish. He can dunk. And this is Sean Livingston. So you see these hot zones? These hot zones are for his ridiculous post-fade animations. This guy, his post-fades are outstanding. And because of his size, he can actually post up smaller guards. So I would advise you, if you have this card, practice his post-up moves. Because, I mean, that's what Sean Livingston does in real life, and they did a good job of replicating that in the game. You can green over and over and over with his post fades, and that makes him a little bit special, because there just aren't, I don't know if there's any cards in the game. I know people like to use Reggie Theus against smaller point guards, but this Sean Livingston, he's a mismatch nightmare. And here's the number one thing: I think this card can guard Ben Simmons, because he's 6'7", so there's only a 2 to 3 inch height difference between the cards. Especially since he's such a big 6'7". The one negative thing about this card is you're not going to be taking any pull-up shots in the mid-range. You can take leaners, and he can hit leaners. He has good ratings for that. You can see the green release there. So he's really good overall. He's not going to be your main source of offense, but he can get to the basket and post up smaller guards. He can hit the open shot in general. And he can guard those bigger guards. So he's a guy that I would say almost any good team, you can throw him in as your third guard in your lineup just in case. Right? So if your first guard is your do-it-all, your Gilbert Arenas, Derrick Rose, your second guard is your 3-and-D guard, your Kyle Lowry, your Rajon Rondo, your John Stockton, this guy is the perfect, he might be the most perfect third guard in the game. Right now, until you unlock Galaxy Opal Penny, of course, but that would be your first guard. He's way up there because he can shoot, albeit very slowly. He still can make the shot over and over with his ratings. You just got to get used to you know, the speed of it. He can get to the basket. He's going to be a monster in triple threat online. He's got good dribble moves. He's just absolutely gigantic for the point guard position. So he is what I would call this guy. This is what it would be like if they released a amethyst or diamond Penny Hardaway version of the Galaxy Opal Penny Hardaway. For those of you who don't know, the Galaxy Opal Penny Hardaway was adjusted. He used to not come with clamps. You know, so he was really trash, but now he has like gold clamps, I think. He has like Hall of Fame range extender, something ridiculous. Like he's basically a taller Gilbert Arenas. So people are saying Gilbert Arenas is the best point guard in the game. I think the Penny's probably the best point guard in the game. But Gilbert's right there. I mean, I'm not going to have that argument. Whichever one you like the most is the best one. They're both super excellent, super meta. But this guy can guard anybody. So let's look at why he can guard anybody. Let's go ahead and get into his statistics and the rest of them. So his mid-range shot is a 99. His 3-point's a 94. He needs it because his shot is dumb slow. And he doesn't get range extender, which I would say is unfortunate, but it's with this card, that's not his role. He's so good on defense, and he's so good going to the basket because of his size. Like his 70 dunk rating, you can ignore that. Like, as you can see, he dunked it every single time I went to the basket. He has a ball handle of 89 with the boost, which is super important. What's up, Render? Render says, my vids turned you into a MyTeam addict after being a skeptic. Yo, man, I'm glad you are enjoying the mode as much as I am. Like I said, this is my first real year in this mode, and I'm super into it. You were saving up for Hito and you weren't able to get him the other day. Yeah, Hito is still way cheaper than he will probably be once these packs are out. So I would say go ahead and grab the Hito as soon as you can afford it, because that's a meta card, and literally there's only 2 of those in the game. It's Hito and Lamar Odom. There's no other cards that you can have to play that role. The 6'10 small forward with limitless range, with the 86 ball control. That's it. It's just those 2 guys. And they are 2 of the top 10 cards in the game as a result of it. So if you don't have the Odom, get Hito. If you do have the Odom, it's up to you. But if you really like the Odom game plan, then get both. And you can just run Odom. As soon as he gets tired, run Hito, and you can play your team exactly the same way, and just be really deep with that game plan. So you see his post moves is an 84. His post fade is an 84, and since he has a 99 mid-range, essentially that post fade is a 95. His rebounding, not super impressive, which is unfortunate because he's so tall, but he'll probably get rebounds anyway because of his height. His perimeter defense is an 89. Which, again, with his size, his wingspan, his shot contests are going to be fantastic. How's Livingston's defense? His defense is outstanding. He's at 85 steal, again, with the long arms. 83 lateral quickness, which could be better, but he's huge, and he has gold clamps. 84 speed. Again, I gave a little knock for MCW for being at 84 speed, but this is a much bigger character model. So him, I forgive a little more. And an 80 vertical, which is going to help out a lot with those rebounds, a lot with those blocks. The wingspan is going to come in there. Even if this card didn't have a good block rating, he would still get blocks because of his height and his wingspan and his jumping ability. So let's look at his. So you saw his hot zones. Let's look at his badges real quick. All right, so a lot of good finishing badges. He has the deep hooks for posting up those guards, which is huge. He's got cross key scorer for the reverses, contact finisher, consistent, acrobat for Euro steps against larger players. This guy's just a mismatch, man. He's a really good card. Teardropper for finishing. So, you know, his dunk rating's not super high. It's a good dunk rating if you're trying to finish if the opponent's behind you, but if the big is in front of you waiting in the paint, you can shoot those floaters without even worrying about it because you have that gold teardropper. So I think for people who learn how to really use this card, he's a little unorthodox. He's not your typical dribble behind screens, take a 3 type point guard, but he is a massively big point guard with a bunch of great finishing badges. He's super crafty. Shooting, he gets flexible release, which is good for that rotten slow, you know, release. Hot zone hunter, which is also really good. He has a lot of hot zones. No more shooting badges besides that. Again, they say he has quick draw. I feel like that's a typo because that shot is really slow right now, especially for gold quick draw. That has to be a lie. Bailout is a huge badge for going to the basket. Obviously that dimer, huge. For this guy, downhill is a really big badge. As I always say, understand how downhill works. It gives you a boost to your speed. I think the highest is 33% at Hall of Fame. So gold is something like 27% boost to your speed. If you are a 99 speed, your speed can't get boosted. You can't go 102 speed. It is not in the game. So downhill, everybody getting excited with like downhill on Gilbert Arenas and Derrick Rose or guys like that, it's an irrelevant badge on those characters because they're already at max speed. Whereas with this guy, because he's at 84 speed, this downhill means that on the fast break, he's basically a 95 speed or something like that. Maybe even a 99. You guys can do the math. Flashy passer, secretly a good badge. If somebody's wide open, do your flashy passes and get into that takeover. And floor general, absolutely huge playmaking badge. It's gotten to the point with me, because there are characters like Jamal Wilkes in the game who really need the ball handling boost to reach their full potential, and DeAndre Jordan, who could really use the shooting boost to reach his full potential, to get over that 70 rating. Floor general for me is kind of, if a point guard has it, I really like him, and if they don't have it, I'm still looking, you know? He's got the rest of the passing badges, some of these more relevant than others. And then the defensive badges. So that's the number one right there. He's got the gold clamps, you know. And the interceptor is no small thing, you know. For just in case you guys don't know, bronze interceptor is what allows you to get the good animations on passing lane steals. Sir Jam asks, do you take the Opal Penny or David Robinson now since they fixed the penny card? I would take the penny, because he's the rarest one. The thing about David Robinson is Kareem is there. You know, you have Ayton who can shoot and play some defense. You can, you know, you've got Embiid out there. Yes, David Robinson is still technically the best center in the game, most likely. I would say maybe tied with Kareem for people who know how to use Kareem. But David is not one of a kind. He's just a fast, tall center who can shoot and play defense. We're going to be getting that a lot throughout the year. Physically, there are only so many players that can be Penny Hardaway, right? Like, that can play the point guard position. I mean, really, it's Penny Hardaway and LeBron James is who you're looking at. You're talking about a fast, tall point guard who's going to shoot, who's going to play defense, who's going to go to the basket, who's going to have all of the playmaking badges. You're talking about basically Penny Hardaway and LeBron James. Because Ben Simmons, I don't know if they're going to make him a better shooter than they already have, and he's still somewhat of a liability with the shooting. He has a makeable shot, but you know, when they come out with a LeBron James card, everybody's going to dump the Ben Simmons card for the LeBron James when the LeBron James card can play point guard. And until they do that, Penny Hardaway is the only version of that in the game. Even though David Robinson could be considered the best center in the game, I could very easily see somebody picking 3, 4, 5 centers over David Robinson because of their play style. Because, for instance, as great as Robinson is, I think Ayton probably blends with Giannis better than David Robinson does. Because Ayton is a knockdown, lights-out shooter. And he's athletic and good on defense. And he's not great on defense. He's great rebounding, solid on defense. Hopefully that answers that question. I would personally pick up the Penny. I wouldn't say to pick up the Grant Hill, because even though Grant Hill is a phenomenal card, he's arguably the best wing in the game. You're getting the same production out of Tracy McGrady or, you know, Kobe or Paul George or one of those guys. It's going to be very, very close. But there's nothing close to Galaxy Opal Penny right now. I mean, the closest is Sean Livingston, which is crazy, right? So that shows you how far that gap is. So you see here, he's got Tireless Defender, which is important. Off-Wall Pass, which is kind of hit-and-miss badge. And the Pick Dodger, which is also very, very important. So that's it for Sean Livingston. I like the card a lot. I think this is probably the most meta out of the group of point guards. The bottom line is he just has a weakness. He has a slow release. Outside of the slow release, the card is a monster. But again, you're putting him in for defense, and really he's like a bigger Gary Payton with much better finishing. Even though the Gary Payton card finished way better than Gary Payton ever did, it's still it's basically, you know, a version of Pink Diamond Gary Payton. So I like that card a lot. He's probably the most meta card. But now we're going to get to my favorite card, my man Markelle Fultz. All right, let's look at his metrics first. Apologize for that. Okay, so let's look at his badges. So he's 6'4", on the bigger side of point guards. He's no giant at 6'6", but He's got a lot of great finishing badges. I mean, basically all of them. Any finishing badge you could possibly want, he has. He has really great shooting badges. Really great. So he's the only one out of these with range extender. So we're going to get... You see he has no defensive badges, which is bad. No question. However, I think the rare case in which you can get away with it is when the card has decent lateral quickness, decent size, and they can kill you with a three-pointer on offense. Render says, other than no clamps, Fultz is a killer and easy to evo. I totally agree. As I said, I've already evoed, I think 2 Markel Fultzes because I sold the other ones for the dupes and made a nice little profit off of that. So, yeah, and back to his badges. I mean, he really has all of the important shooting badges except for Hot Zone Hunter. A Hot Zone Hunter and Green Machine are the only 2 he's missing. Not a super big deal. Those are good badges, but those are icing on the cake type badges. Range extender, quick draw, that's what we're talking about here. And volume shooter and Tyler shooter too, because you can play this card into fatigue. That's huge. Playmaking badges. This is interesting. So he has the gold dimer. He doesn't have floor general, which means you'll have to play him with somebody like Giannis or does Hito get it? I'm not sure if Hito gets it or Grant Hill who gets it at a different position if you want a floor general. So there is a minus on the card. That is a little knock on him. He has bailout, which is excellent. Lob City, not the most relevant badge, but it's okay. Needle Threader, super relevant. And then no defensive badges. But here's the thing with this card. This card just feels amazing. Like that behind the back with him is just quick. It says he doesn't have quick first step, but the card is fast. You know, so I don't know, like if that, again, if that's a typo the same way Sean Livingston, it says he has quick draw, but his shot is like mad slow. This card feels like he has quick first step. So the thing about this card over a lot of other cards that have range extender, 86 ball control or better, quick first step, he's fast. We didn't even look at his ratings yet. We're going to go back and look at his ratings. He's fast. He's reasonably tall. So he can dunk, he can shoot, he can dribble, he can pass. He has the dimer. It's the dunking. This guy is really athletic. It's a really athletic card. He will dunk on people. So offensively, he reminds me, he's probably a lot more like he's like a taller Steve Francis almost. You know, back when the Steve Francis card was meta. So if you don't have a diamond or pink diamond point guard that's at the top of the meta, or you only have one of those guys, if you are making concessions on your backup point guard, I would say Markel Fultz is a fine card to make concessions on, because he's better than like guys like Marbury and stuff like that, because he has the range extender. And I love the Marbury card. He's a really fun card to use, but this card has the range extender. He has a great quick release. I mean, let's look at it. Hot zones everywhere. Like offensively, this card is a diamond easy. Like offensively, he's a diamond. If his badges were Hall of Fame, he'd be a pink diamond. You know, he just, the only reason he's an amethyst, I mean, look at the momentum behind the back. I mean, look at that dunk. That's crazy. Like if you can hide him on defense, honestly, a skilled person can kill people with this card. Like honestly, kill people. You can score 50 points a game in Unlimited with this card, because offensively he can give you the business in any which way. Like literally any which way. This card is basically perfect offensively. Again, they say he doesn't have quick first step, but damn it, that's a quick first step. All right, so it might be his speed ratings. So this is a good time to segue into his ratings. All right, he has a 96 mid-range and a 96 three-pointer. I'm going to end the video now. Like, seriously, this card is ridiculous on offense. Absolutely ridiculous on offense. And as much as I love the Livingston, and if I was playing comp against, you know, if I knew that somebody was going to try and throw a Ben Simmons or something at me, for fun reasons and for offensive effectiveness reasons, I would probably play the Markel Fultz above a lot of cards. And I'm quite serious about that, because offensively, he just feels outstanding. He's got a 97 driving layup, a 90 driving dunk, a 92 draw foul, 92 ball handle. These are boosted stats because of coaches and floor general, but you guys should all be running with good coaches and floor general, so this should be representative of what you have in your lineup. No post moves, obviously. No post fade, which not a big deal on a 6'4 guard, but you know, it'd have been a bonus if he had it. Not a great rebounder. Now here's the thing. His perimeter defense is a 92. And this is what I was saying about this card on defense. He's not pathetic on defense like Luka and James Harden and like Kemba Walker, who's all tiny. You know, this guy's better. I would put him above every diamond card without defense at the point guard position. I would play him first in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. His pass perception. His steals are 84. You know? Shot contest is pretty low at 67, not super great, but his lateral quickness is an 87. So this card is not a turnstile. He just doesn't have clamps. And as important as clamps is, and it is important, it's not more important than the fact that this card allows you to completely just boogie on people on the other end. You can get threes, you can get dunks, you can get mid-range twos, you can dish out of the out of your driving attempts. Like this card is 91 speed with ball. I might be a maniac and throw a shoe on this card. Like this guy is he's a fool. 95 vertical leap. This card is outstanding. Outstanding card. He's my favorite card out of the collection. I would say Livingston has the most competitive utility because as much as I love the Fultz card, the bottom line is if you have a diamond or a pink diamond who can also do those things, then you're good to go. Although there aren't that many cards that have clamps, range extender, and the dunking, right? Like that's the magical combination. That's why Gilbert Arenas is looked at as the best. And I think Penny is the only card that has all of those things and size, which is why I put Penny as the best one, because Penny has, I think he's only at 88 speed still, but he's 6'7". He's got the dribbling, he's got the passing, he's got the dunking, and he's got the range extender, the new Penny card. Markelle Fultz has everything except for clamps. And even though we like our cards to be perfect, if you're making sacrifices, this is the #1 I'm making a concession card in the game, in my opinion. I mean, maybe not in the game, but at the point guard position in the game. This is your guy. So that's pretty much it for the video. I think MCW is just there for your collection. To be honest with you, I wouldn't play MCW because the Norm Nixon exists. And if you're looking for a low-rated point guard, I would go with Norm Nixon way above MCW, specifically Norm Nixon from the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar set. So I don't love the MCW card. Not super into him. The Sean Livingston card, super great. One glaring weakness, just horribly slow shot release. Outside of slow shot release, that Livingston card is a monster, and again, probably really good in Triple Threat Online as well. And the Markelle Fultz card, he's one of the best offensive cards in the game. He replaces the Jamal Murrays and Devontae Grahams of the world. I would put him above those cards by far because he is a way better dunker. He's way more athletic. I think Murray is listed as 6'4", but he looks a little stubby, and he also has a little bit slower of a release than Fultz. And it's just, in general, he just doesn't. He's not as snappy. Man, this Fultz card is snappy. You know, like his momentum is there, his momentum spin, his momentum crossover, his momentum, behind the back. It's all there. And it's all swift, and he can hit every shot across the half-court line. This guy's a monster. So if you're a point guard type player, and you like point guard type cards, despite the fact that he doesn't have clamp, you might find yourself in a position where you defend well enough with this card to balance out his outstanding S-tier offense. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. I always forget to say that. Thank you so much for those of you who are already subscribed. Feel free to share. And if I get any more cards in this collection, I will definitely be reviewing those cards. The only card I really want is Gilbert Arenas. If I come across Rondo, I will review him. I'm not particularly interested in Rondo because to me, he looks like Kyle Lowry with less shooting and more speed, which doesn't interest me very much at all. So I think if you already have Kyle Lowry, you're not super interested in Rondo, which because Rondo cannot dunk at all. So, you know, there's a universe where somebody runs Fultz and somebody else runs Rondo, and the person who has the Fultz card comes out on the other end of it simply because Fultz literally just cannot be stopped. And Rondo, if you guard the 3-ball, what else is he going to do? You know? And that's the case for any card that's really, really good on offense versus more of a role player card. So, but we'll see. Maybe I get my hands on a Rondo and think a little more of him. That's just kind of what I'm feeling. But you see what Fultz is doing. Fultz is out of his mind. So, my Hito Turkoglu Evo is almost done. So I might bring that card in here and compare him directly to Lamar Odom when I get my hands on the full Evo. But my early judgment is they are basically exactly the same card, and get one or both of them because they are two of the top 10 best cards in the game. All right, guys, enjoy. I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.